Okay, if everybody can find a seat, we'll be bringing more in shortly. But let's get started. We have a full agenda. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for attending the Stanford JCC's annual meeting. Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment and recognize our very own Connie Freeman. Connie, if you can stand. After close to 10 years leading our JCC's senior department and more recently taking on our arts and culture program with Nancy, she will be retiring as of today. We thank you for a decade of amazing service, and we look forward to seeing you around the JCC as a member. We appreciate everyone being here tonight, and we appreciate your continued active participation in the center. We also want to recognize our community accessing the live stream from all over the country. While it is great that we're able to be in person, it's amazing that we're able to stay connected to our community wherever they are. Congratulations to our volunteers of the year and the JCC Hyacinthe and Harold Hoffman Award winner, Risa Goldblum. I also want to welcome Diane Sloyer, CEO of United Jewish Federation. Our JCC is built on family memories. How many of you have come to the JCC for yourself, for a program for you? How many have come to the JCC with another member of the family to enjoy the JCC together? That's the essence, the job to get done. It's personal family connections. We offer something for everyone and can be everything to those that need us. That's what tonight is about. That's what our board of directors are tasked with championing and guarding. And we appreciate you all actively participating in our process. With that, let's get our evening started. I'd like to invite Danielle Gold to the stage to lead us in the Star Spangled Banner and Hatikva.
All rise. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we'd hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Kolod balevav penima, nefesh Yehudi omia, ulfate Mizrahi. חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים. להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון וירושלים.
Two years ago, I made a joke that I had to increase the font to 14. This year, we're at 15. This weekend, I came to the JCC with my family. I had to loop the parking lot for a spot not once, but twice. Everywhere you looked, the pool, indoor pickleball courts, the baseball diamond, fitness center, and playground. People were enjoying our JCC. Positive energy was flowing throughout every inch of our campus. Yesterday, a regular, typical Monday, the JCC experienced over 1,000 people walking through its doors. 200 children to the Vogel Family Center for Early Learning Programs, 400 participants in the Selkowitz Center for Youth and Family taking part in Kids Place, enrichments, and swim team. We also enjoyed 40 participants at the Sylvia Plotkin Memorial Day of Games, and our regular and increasing 150 daily Kuriansky Fitness Center users. One might say that it feels good to be back to normal. But we are not back to normal. We continue to navigate an ever-evolving pandemic and limit, reduce, and even modify some of our offerings to keep our community safe. We also continue to make structural changes to our JCC. Among them are moving the Sarah Walker Nursery School onto our main campus this year. Sure. Our building committee, together with Karp Associates, continues to undertake transformational capital projects. And United Jewish Federation, a valued partner, will be relocating their offices off-site to allow the community to access more program space here at the JCC. We thank them for their leadership and support in our community and look forward to continue having them call the Stamford JCC their programmatic home. As a board and staff, we spent time this year talking about the future, looking past the pandemic and charting a path forward. From March 2020 to May of 21, we experienced a 50% membership decline. We were losing members every month. 50 one month, 100 the next month, 50 the next month. It was scary. But in May of 21, a year ago to the day, our membership stabilized. And for months, we remained at around 750 units. Can you close the door? Thanks. Our believers, made up of many of you here with us tonight, stayed with us, giving us time to focus, evolve our programs, and begin to grow anew. Before the pandemic, we offered a basketball-only membership. It paid for the use of the basketball courts at predetermined times, but had no other member benefits. It was completely transactional. When the pandemic impacted the JCC, every single one of those basketball-only members dropped their membership immediately. When the JCC was able to resume pickup basketball offerings, Mo Concepcion communicated that pickup basketball memberships would no longer be offered. As you can imagine, there was a significant and somewhat visceral response. After Mo delivered an explanation, some of our believers, of those 750 or so units, who remained and retained their membership throughout the pandemic, many of whom only used the JCC regularly for basketball, articulated the value of our JCC better than we ever could. They changed the conversation with their peers, sharing why taking what you wanted from the JCC only when you wanted it was not enough. People need to value the JCC for what it provides to the community. The JCC needs to be invested in, so it is there in and for the future. One by one, those basketball-only members joined as full members. A funny thing happened. They became more engaged. They asked for more programming, and the JCC now offers 4 days a week of pickup basketball. Something similar happened with pickleball. As it became a member-only benefit, pickleball went from being offered 2 times a week with sporadic drop-in attendance to 9 times a week, regularly experiencing wait lists. We gave consumers a choice to become full members, and as a result, they are at the JCC more often, using more programs, and are more engaged with our community. A fully invested membership is critical to our long-term success. The JCC is more than a school, a gym, or an enrichment program. It is a community asset to be invested in for the long term. We need to properly value our product and increase the value we are delivering to our members. As we continue to operate throughout the last year, we have done our best to improve the member experience. Saunas and steam rooms for all, new fitness equipment, free coffee service, and exclusive programs and community mixers are among some of the added benefits we have delivered to our members, all with a goal of improving the customer experience, all a start. At this time, I'd like to invite Shannon Jacobs up to the podium, who has exciting news to share.
Thank you, Marshall. And I think I have you beat. My font is 24 point. A world where everyone has access to a welcoming, nurturing, and safe community. We will soon be one step closer. I am the most excited I've ever been in the 10+ years that I've worked here at the Stanford JCC. The JCC transformed in so many ways, from the look of the building to the energetic feeling you get when you walk through our doors. Thank you to our amazing professional team for bringing our vision to life, and to our committed board and donors who continue to believe in our vision. Through your investment, the JCC has been able to commit to improving our member experience. I am excited to announce that next month, we'll be rolling out our new CRM and website. Transforming our digital presence will improve our ability to deliver a positive experience to our community. Let's take a sneak peek.
Thank you, Shannon, and the entire marketing team in leading this effort to transform our JCC's first impression and online user experience. Shannon, Francisco, Brianna, thank you. In 2019, we discussed running out of space. In September of 2022, the Stamford JCC will have 10,000 square feet of more usable indoor program space. And yet, we are quickly beginning to encounter similar challenges to 2019. The JCC's new infant room, started in September, is already fully enrolled for next year. Our 1- and 2-year-old programs are also fully enrolled with a waiting list. We have more campers enrolled a full month before summer than we had all of last year. Our preschool in Greenwich continues to grow with 24 students today and over 35 children enrolled this summer. One thing the pandemic has made clear is that there is no long-term substitution for an in-person community environment. You can work or work out from anywhere in the world, but spinning alone in your basement gets old for most people. We are seeing people now choosing to not only work out, but also work from the JCC. What is a JCC with a growing membership, over 1,100 units today and growing every day, and fully utilized spaces do? What happens when we are allowed to program to our full potential, unrestricted by the current pandemic? We expand and we grow. We need to continue to invest in our home, but also look at new opportunities beyond our current footprint. To our core who stayed with us, thank you. Your continued support gives us the resolve to invest in our community and continue to reimagine our future. Because of your faith in us, your philanthropy to the JCC, and your active participation in our community, the JCC will realize its limitless potential in the years to come. Thank you. I now welcome Risa Raish, past president, 2020 Hoffman Award winner, JCC champion, mentor, and friend, to the podium.
Under the initial leadership of Michael Golds and Blake Bueckman, the Vision 2022 Capital Campaign Committee has been quietly raising funds for strategic capital improvements at the J for the past 2 years. As the current co-chairs, Blake and I are thrilled to share that to date, the campaign has raised $4.36 million. That's from over almost 58 donors, and half of the campaign donors are first-time contributors to a JCC capital campaign. A huge thanks to each one of you who has given so generously to this campaign. The response has been truly extraordinary and inspiring. The funds raised have enabled significant renovations that fully maximize the existing footprint of the J to better serve the community. Modern adult locker rooms, a state-of-the-art multi-purpose classroom wing, security enhancements, a renovated lobby and gallery space. And there is so much more to come. A family locker room, inclusive private changing rooms, multi-purpose studio space, and a culinary arts studio. And with additional funding, a modernized early childhood boundless playground, and renovated outdoor courts for tennis and pickleball. And take a look around this room. The scope of the campaign has grown to include bold plans to reimagine and redesign this auditorium. In addition to capital gifts, Joy Katz is leading the Life and Legacy Endowment Giving Initiative for the J, because the need is forever. These fundraising efforts have already and will continue to positively impact our JCC community for generations to come. Take a look at what others have to say about this campaign.
The Stamford JCC is located in North Stamford, Connecticut. Our vision is a world where everyone has access to a welcoming, nurturing, and safe community. The JCC is not worried about its short-term survival. What we are focused on is our long-term ability to thrive for the community.
The JCC was the first place that my friends and I could get together, and it was really the only place that meant something. The place to go when you were sad, the place to go when you were happy, the place to go when you wanted to celebrate.
It was our gym. It was also a recreational place for us.
What's really amazing about the JCC is that the friends you meet along the way seem to remain the best friends in your life.
If you are Jewish, this is where the whole Jewish community comes together. And if you're not Jewish, this is a welcoming, diverse membership, much more diverse than when I was growing up. And so it's just a good place to build community, a community of friends.
One of the things that I really appreciate about the JCC is that we may look different, but we share common values, and that's what bonds us together.
It's hard for me to come up with a more important institution. Not only is it powerful, but it is more incumbent on all of us to make sure that it endures, to make sure that it is here next year and 5 years from now and 10 years from now. What could be more important than the values that bind us together?
To have them, feel supported and feel nurtured and feel comforted by this community. The JCC's efforts to really do that is benefiting generations, not just these kids you see today. It's investing in our future.
Whenever I'm meeting with families, giving a tour at the J or at the nursery school, I kind of say the same story over and over, which is this is where people meet their people. This campaign is so critical because we need to bring our building and our programming to that next level, and this is what's going to do it. Instead of retrofitting to what exists here, we are creating what will be the best for a school and children's programming environment.
The Vision 2022 campaign will really position the JCC for many years to come and make it much more usable and relevant in a post-COVID world.
We hope that our investment in the JCC will inspire other people to contribute to the JCC's future.
Excellence in everything that we do has to come first and foremost. In order for us to catch up with the demand for our programs and then grow and evolve, we need an investment. We have grand plans for the future. We believe that our JCC has to have a facility to help make that world a reality.
Tonight, we are announcing the launch of the public phase of the Vision 2022 campaign. We are reaching out broadly to our entire membership and community to fund remaining projects and grow our endowment. Please join me in ensuring that our JCC continues to be an enduring and welcoming place for current and future generations. Be a part of the transformation. Marshall and members of the Vision 2022 Campaign Committee are always available to dream with you about what we can and will do together and to discuss further details. After tonight's meeting, you are invited to join us on a special behind-the-scenes tour to see the beautiful new spaces and those under construction. If you are watching virtually, we will be happy to schedule a private tour at your convenience. We look forward to celebrating the continued successes of the Vision 2022 campaign with all of you at the JCC's grand opening and gala this coming September. It is now my pleasure to introduce Monica Schlesinger-Smith and Jocelyn Avidan to present the Volunteer of the Year Awards.
Thank you, Risa. Volunteer work is critical to being a part of a positive, welcoming, and nurturing community. Each year, the Stanford JCC relies on volunteers to support programs, provide leadership, and make events come to life, all with the goal of elevating our mission. The Jewish tradition of Tikkun Olam, healing the world, teaches us that it's the responsibility of each of us to leave the world, our community, and our JCC a little better than we found it. Tonight's Volunteer of the Year honorees have heeded that call, and our JCC is stronger and better because of it. I'd like to ask all of our Volunteers of the Year to join us up on stage right now.
It gives me great pleasure to introduce the 2022 JCC Volunteers of the Year. Jami Birnbaum, for her leadership on the technical side of the Sylvia Plotkin Day of Games.
Come on up.
Beth Caton for her leadership at the JCC Preschool at Greenwich Reform Synagogue. We do have some people that weren't able to make it tonight. Ellen Gordon for helping with the gallery at the J. Donny Konrad for the leadership at the annual JCC golf and tennis outing. Lilly Lapine for assisting at hand-in-hand day camps at the Jay's Inclusion Summer Program and a Jumpstart during the school year. Finn Miller for assisting in the Sports and Rec Department, including Whaler Bloom skills and scrimmages. Tim Oberweger for leadership at the annual JCC golf and tennis outing. Millie Sobel for helping with the senior adult program and dedication to keep our JCC seniors engaged. Betsy Stone for moderating book and author conversations and the Jewish Film Festival of Fairfield County. And last but not least, Carolyn Temluck Teichman for helping with the gallery at the J.
Thank you so much to our volunteers, and I'd like to turn it over to Peter Rosen to deliver the nominating committee report.
Thanks, Jocelyn. According to the bylaws of the Jewish Community Center, a nominating committee consisting of 7 members, 4 members of the board of directors and 3 selected from the membership at large, is appointed annually by the president to prepare a proposed slate of officers and directors to guide the JCC in the coming year. This year, the nominating committee was chaired by Joy Katz as immediate past president. I would like to thank those who served along with Joy in performing this very important responsibility. Blake Bueckman, John Malkin, Bennet Moskowitz, Peter Rosen, Greg Tobler, and Rachel Waldstreicher. It is both an honor and a responsibility to serve on the board of directors of this agency. In addition to having a sense of leadership and vision and presenting a positive, credible image to the community, those nominated to serve as officers and directors must, among other things, have knowledge of the commitment to the goals of our JCC and support the center's functions, events, and fundraisers. Those members of the slate standing for election tonight have agreed to assume the responsibilities of officers and directors of the Jewish Community Center for the coming year. I will now read the slate of officers proposed for the nomination by the nominating committee this coming year. I ask each nominee to stand as his or her name is called and remain standing until I ask you to sit. President Blake Bueckman. First Vice President Jed Selkowitz. Vice President Pamela Feldstein. Secretary Arnold Karp. Treasurer Jeff Popper. Assistant Treasurer Peter Rosen. Counsel Dan Schwartz. And immediate past president Michael Gold. On behalf of the nominating committee of the JCC membership, I move that the membership of the JCC elect the slate of officers as presented. Is there a second? Are there any nominations from the floor? Let us vote. All in favor of electing the slate of officers as proposed? Any against? Hearing no dissent, the slate is elected unanimously. Congratulations. Congratulations to all. The nominating committee also reviewed a list of directors whose terms were expiring. Between directors whose at-large terms expired and those moving from at-large positions to officer positions, the committee was charged with filling 3 at-large vacancies. Following an extensive review of potential board candidates suggested by committee members, current board members, past presidents, previous board members, and staff, the committee determined who the best candidates for these board openings would be. In making this determination, the committee reviewed the responsibilities and obligations of JCC directors, considered the current board composition, and the past and current involvement and commitment of prospective board candidates. Based on these considerations, the nominating committee is very pleased to put forward for approval by the JCC membership the following slate of directors. As each nominee is called, I'd ask that the nominee stand and remain standing until I ask you to sit. For 3-year at-large terms expiring May 2025, Jocelyn Avidan, Stuart Roth, Sara Simon, and Alana Sliwinski. For a 2-year term expiring May 2024, Leon Shapiro. For a 1-year term expiring May 2023, Bennet Moskowitz. In addition, the following at-large board members previously elected will continue to serve. For terms expiring May 2024, Risa Goldblum and Monica Schlesinger-Smith. For terms expiring May 2023, Effi Cohen and Jeannie Kriftcher. On behalf of the nominated committee and the JCC membership, I move that the membership of the JCC elect the slate of directors as presented. Is there a second? Any nominations from the floor? Hearing no dissent, the slate is elected unanimously. Congratulations to each of you. Thanks to all of our officers and directors for your continued commitment to the Jewish Community Center and the entire Jewish community. Best of luck in your endeavors to continue the good work of this organization. Now I introduce Jeannie Kriftcher to come up for her remarks.
Good evening, everybody. Before I say thank you to our outgoing board members, I just want to go off script for a second personally to say thank you and congratulations to Michael, my friend Michael, for all your service on the board and going out as a fantastic president during 2 incredibly difficult years. So thank you. And a congratulations to my friend Blake for our incoming president. So I know it's going to be amazing serving under you. To my very, very dear friend Risa for receiving the Hoffman Award. Well deserved. And I can't ever stand up here at any meeting without saying a tremendous thank you to Marshall and the entire staff for everything that you guys do. And I always say you are the heart and soul of this organization, and we would not be who we are without all of you. I'm going to ask for the staff to all stand so we can recognize you. And now, so serving as a member of the Stanford JCC Board of Directors is a commitment of time, energy, and support that few people are willing to take on in the best of times. I would not say serving on a board during the pandemic has been easy. To our outgoing board members, and I'll ask you guys to join me, Joy Katz, Shawnee Cohn, and Scott Handelman, come on up. Is everyone here? Okay. I want to thank you for your courage, commitment, dedication in serving the community with unwavering support. A board member's career has term limits. It's a finite amount of time. We are caretakers and champions for the JCC's mission and vision, and we can only hope to leave the JCC in a stronger position than when we started our term. We plant seeds and know that many of the decisions we make won't impact the community for years or even decades after our board service ends. Scott, Shawnee, and Joy, we can't thank you enough for your service. Are Scott and Shawnee here? Okay, got it. Sorry. Please join us. Join me. Scott here. I didn't hear you. Okay, gotcha. Scott, if you're watching, hi. So I'll start with Scott and say thank you for 3 years of service on the JCC board. We thank you for your service on the finance, investment, and audit committees, and for your ability and willingness to provide insight into the parent experience in the early learning program. Thank you for your advocacy and ambassadorship in championing the JCC on social media and beyond our walls. Shawnee, thank you for 6 amazing years on the board. You have given us keen insight into our Orthodox community, which we are super grateful for. And you were always an advocate for our sports and wellness offerings. Thank you for always making sure the J shined through everything that we did. And to my other dear friend here, Joy Katz, you are a true champion of the JCC. Over a decade of service, in addition to sitting on countless committees and task forces, you chaired the CEO search committee, led us through 2 transformative years as president, and then proceeded to spearhead our Life and Legacy and Social Action Committee efforts most recently. Thank you so much for your leadership and your unwavering commitment to the JCC. This year and going forward, we will be planting a tree at the Stamford JCC in honor of each board member's service to the JCC. The tree is a symbol for the seeds you have planted here and the legacy you leave to the community. A person's JCC journey is never over. We look forward to seeing each of you at the JCC. And now I give you Joy Katz to present to our outgoing board president.
Most JCC presidents have challenges to navigate during their terms, but Michael Gold got the honor of being president during a pandemic. The JCC was confronted with challenging and hard decisions, and it was definitely difficult to be a leader during these past 2 years. Yet, so much has been accomplished under Michael's presidency. The beautiful upstairs locker rooms were opened for use. The multipurpose classroom wing and lobby renovations were started and completed, and the construction of the new family locker room and inclusive changing rooms has begun. As Risa said earlier, we have had an extraordinarily successful capital campaign, and our legacy giving program has been gaining significant momentum, which should give all of us comfort because it means that our beloved JCC will be here for families just like our own for generations to come. One of Michael's strengths is his seeing the importance of communicating and working with our community partners and understanding how that strengthens each organization and the community as a whole. As we brought the JCC Sarah Walker Nursery School home into our building, the multiple conversations that Michael had with our partners were very important to help smooth that transition. Another of Michael's strengths is his strategic thinking, which he put to good use as he recently led our board retreat with the goal of updating our framework for assessing future growth opportunities. Michael, thank you very much for your 2 years of service as president, and we all look forward to seeing you continue to serve the J over the next 2 years in your new role as immediate past president. So, thank you. Mazel tov.
It's so nice to see everyone. I didn't get to do this while I was president. It's okay. You'll thank me about that later. 6 years ago, this very week, I had the privilege of co-chairing the JCC Centennial Torch Relay. During the event that retraced our agency and community's journey, I heard so many stories from multi-generational families whose parents and grandparents and great-grandparents played such an important role in our history. Above all, there were 3 stories that resonated most with me about our first 100 years. Each related to how our community overcame adversity to sustain this agency during a time of crisis when the future existence of the JCC was anything but certain. The first of these told the story of the original 26 visionary families who formed the Hebrew Institute 106 years ago. The second tale took place only 13 short years later when the Great Depression hit, and many in our JCC community pawned their valuables to ensure the construction of the center on Prospect Street would be completed. The last took place approximately 50 years later, when the community stepped up en masse again to make donations that prevented the bank from foreclosing this facility we still call home. As I listened attentively to these inspiring stories, I couldn't help but wonder if or how our community might respond should the JCC ever find itself again facing an existential crisis of those proportions. I remember discussing this with my dear friend and co-chair Maxine Freilich during one of our rehearsal walks up Newfield Avenue. We contemplated whether, like previous generations of JCC families, ours could or would summon the strength, fortitude, and selfless generosity if called upon to ensure the survival of the Stamford JCC. Sure enough, on March 6, 2020, about 8 weeks before the start of my term as president, we turned off these lights and closed our doors. And this cherished institute, which boasted of traffic approaching 2,000 persons per day, emptied. The sounds of children in our classrooms, adults in our pool and fitness center, and construction in our soon-to-be completed adult locker room all fell silent. And at that point in time, none of us knew how long the silence would persist or how long we could survive if it did. Whatever plans I envisioned for my presidency over the next 2 years, or whatever tasks were on Marshall's near-term radar, immediately fell to the wayside as the board and leadership team pivoted our focus to understand the potential impact of this pandemic to our very existence and what we could do about it. We quickly set in motion a strategy encapsulated by the tagline, "Survive and Thrive," with an aspirational outcome to not only keep the Stamford JCC solvent, but somehow, and frankly, none of us were entirely sure how, to come through it stronger. The only thing that seemed clear at that time was that the stakes were higher than anything we had experienced. As we join tonight, I'm happy to share an update on those efforts. And as much as I'd like to declare this a mission accomplished moment, unfortunately, as we are all too aware, conditions remain fluid due to the persistence of the pandemic. However, 2+ years into this crisis, I am pleased to report that this community has not only passed this test thus far, but we have also produced outcomes that far exceeded what we thought possible. And I'd like to share with you some of the important reasons for that. We survived because this board put our trust in our professional leadership team to shepherd the JCC through the crisis and make the important daily decisions needed to navigate a rapidly evolving landscape. We thrived because leadership set in place and held firm to the strategy that we should do everything we could do to remain open as long as we were allowed to do so and continue to provide every service to our community that was permissible by our governing authorities. We survived because we asked you as members to stay with the J, and most of you did just that, despite being unable to use these facilities in the way in which you were accustomed. We thrived because despite the dramatic disruptions in membership and program revenues, we were willing to make the hard decisions, to hold firm to our fiduciary responsibilities, to refuse to mortgage the Stamford JCC's future, and to aggressively pursue alternative channels of revenue to keep our agency running and our staff employed. We survived because our young families continued to put their trust in our early learning programs to teach and care for their most precious assets. We thrived because we listened closely to what our families needed and rapidly pivoted to introduce new services, such as a full-day hybrid learning and kindergarten programs, and kept our summer camp open when others were unable to do so. And we thrived because of the policies and practices we enacted to best protect the health of our children and our staff, and we thrived because of the selfless dedication of our teachers and our staff who persistently came to work to ensure a sustained level of excellence throughout these past 2 years. We survived because we weren't afraid to pivot to virtual programs such as group fitness when in-person options were no longer viable. And we thrived because we realized that we could use the virtual platform to expand cherished programs such as the Jewish Arts and Film Festival to offer great content on a year-round basis. We survived because we decided to continue on the journey we had started to raise the capital for a 3-phased infrastructure modernization plan. And we thrived because so many of you decided to join that effort. And under the leadership of our Vision 2022 co-chairs, Risa Goldblum and Blake Bueckman, we were able to exceed our fundraising targets such that we can now contemplate additional phases, such as building out a culinary arts studio and transforming this auditorium to create a magnificent multi-purpose space. We survived because under the leadership of past President Jed Goldblum and the building committee, supported by board member Arnold Karp and his team at Karp Associates, we maintained a laser focus on executing the most significant renovation since the opening of this building. And we thrived because those efforts brought the Sarah Walker Nursery School back to our center after 40 years and increased our capacity and flexibility to serve our young families' needs. Those are just a sample of the many reasons that we can enjoy each other's company tonight and why this agency can look forward again to an exciting future. Just recently, my fellow directors have heard me say that I am more bullish on the Stanford JCC than I have been at any previous point during my 8 years of service on this board. It is with great confidence and conviction that I believe our 106-year-old agency is primed for transformational growth. And I have the full faith and confidence in this professional and lay leadership team to deliver upon its potential and protect our mission and vision well into the future. There are too many people to thank for their contributions to this agency the past 2 years, but I would just like to take a moment to recognize a few. To departing board member Jeannie Cohen, I thank you for reminding us of the importance of holding true to the legacy of our mission. And to Scott Handelman, I thank you for reminding us that our future potential is limited only by our hesitancy to dream big. To my longtime friend and colleague, our departing past president, Joy Katz, I am grateful for the many lessons you imparted in me, but above all, that it is as important to do the right things as it is to do things right. Thank you to the entire board for your patience and guidance during this challenging time, and to the Council of Advisors for your sage wisdom and advice, and to the staff for your selfless dedication, resilience, and perseverance. Congratulations and thank you to our Volunteers of the Year and to Risa Goldblum for her well-deserved honor as this year's recipient of the Hyacinthe and Harold Hoffman Humanitarian Award. To my friend and partner, CEO Marshall Curlin, I wish to use this opportunity to personally thank you for your exemplary performance as the steady hand on the helm as we navigated through the rough waters of COVID. In the short time you were here before the pandemic struck, you had already proven yourself in leading this agency through a remarkable turnaround, putting us on a solid financial footing and on a path to growth. Little did we know the breadth and depth of the tests that this crisis would throw at you and how effectively you would manage through each one. I quickly came to appreciate and respect the awesomeness of the challenges you faced, ranging from dealing with heightened passions and widely divergent views among the memberships, to diligently focus on available federal grant and loan funds and distributing it prudently to achieve full forgiveness, to setting and defending COVID policies and practices that place the well-being of our members, their children, and our staff as our highest priority, and finally, to keeping the collective eye of the professional team and the board on the promise of a bright future that awaited us once we reached the end of this tunnel. In my mind, no one exemplifies the motto, survive and thrive, more than you did these past 2 years, and I will be forever grateful for your tireless leadership and exemplary professionalism during this time. On a personal note, I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the ace up my sleeve during the 2-year term as president. Those who have served with me on this board for the 6 years prior to COVID might recall that I customarily occupied the same chair in the JCC boardroom. Down the left-hand side along the wall of JCC presidential portraits towards the far end. That was not by coincidence, as that seat just happened to be situated directly in front of the photograph of my wife, Robin Frederick, president of the Stanford JCC board from 2005 to 2007. Admittedly, I sat there in the hopes that perhaps through osmosis, I might be able to contribute to this agency in a way that might even faintly resemble her many accomplishments during the 15 years she served on this board. However, I must acknowledge that having 24/7 access to Robin's experience and counsel during my presidency was invaluable beyond words. Marshall can attest that I readily confess that the vast majority of good ideas originating from me during my presidency never actually originated from me. Honey, I thank you eternally for the opportunity to walk in your footsteps with the humble admission that I could never fill your shoes. I close tonight by referencing a tagline you may recall from the Stanford JCC Gala in the spring of 2017. On that evening 5 years ago, when we honored the Rothman family, we celebrated with what could best be described as blind optimism that the best is yet to come. 5 years later, having survived and thrived during a pandemic that threatened this agency's very existence, I can confidently state that this agency's foundation and its future potential to serve this community are stronger than they have been in a long time. And to that end, I have a personal ask of you, and through you, to others that are close to you because of your family's shared history with the Stanford JCC. If you put your membership on hold during the pandemic, I invite you to come home and experience the excitement of a renovated facility, expanded programming, and a re-energized professional team. And if you have yet to participate in our fundraising to secure the future, I ask you to take a moment and reflect on your family's personal journey with the Stanford JCC. Consider those who came before you and sacrificed to make your journey possible. And then come aboard the Vision 2022 and Life and Legacy campaigns, as a record number of our member families have done already. I take leave of this post deeply humbled and grateful beyond words for the opportunity to have served during this crazy period in our history. I hope that 94 years from now, when perhaps one of our very own descendants leads the Stanford JCC bicentennial torch relay, they learn about how during the global pandemic that started in 2020, our community again held steadfast to this agency. And like those who led us through the crises of the past, we did our part to preserve the JCC for the generations that followed. As for my personal place in this story, I would be content if those who are fortunate enough to lead the Stanford JCC at our 200th anniversary glanced over at the photographs on the wall of past presidents in the boardroom and simply asked, who was that masked man? Thank you. Tonight, I have the privilege of introducing the Stanford JCC's new board president for the first time. Blake, will you please come and join me at the podium? Before this pandemic and the start of my own term, I recall seeking the advice of numerous JCC past presidents. In one such conversation with Artie and Betsy Selkowitz, they imparted in me the sage advice that above all, if I achieved nothing else during my term, what I should consider most important was preparing the next generation to take on the mantle of leadership for the J. Those of us who know Blake Bueckman can say with confidence from an early point in that relationship that one day she was going to be the president of this JCC. Her expansive resume evidencing her commitment to and accomplishments for this agency is far too lengthy to detail. Whether you had the privilege of being a Sarah Walker Nursery School or camp parent alongside her, served on the Vision 2020-2022 Capital Campaign Committee, or watched her in action on the board, nominating committee, or innumerable other task forces, you witnessed her dedication and unmatched willingness to step up and lead firsthand. It was clear to me that she needed no such preparatory instruction to take over as our lay leader. And as someone who possesses the rare combination of vision, execution excellence, and magnetism needed to raise the bar and set the JCC on a sustained and exciting path of expansion and transformation into what promises to be a very bright future for our community. If you haven't had the good fortune to meet Blake, I encourage you to do so at your earliest opportunity. You won't regret it for a second. Artie, Betsy, we're off to a good start. Your new JCC president, Blake Bueckman.
Right, we're going to make this a little lower. Thank you, Michael, so much for your kind words. And thank you for leading us through an unprecedented time for our organization and world. As I said at our board retreat, I am sure you always wanted to be president during a pandemic. So I'm so glad we can make all your dreams come true. But in all seriousness, thank you for holding us steady and for always smiling on Zoom. Mazel tov to Risa Goldblum on your well-deserved award this evening. You have set the bar so very high for meaningful community contribution and leadership. Congratulations to all the recipients of the Volunteer of the Year awards. Your time and talent is absolutely invaluable and so very much appreciated. I would also like to take a minute to acknowledge the incredible staff at the Stanford JCC for their absolutely heroic efforts, especially over the past 2 years. From the first greetings at our beautiful new entrance to the countless decisions and details that help the JCC thrive, this staff shows us each day how much they are the backbone and heart of this organization. Please, let's all stand and give them some well-deserved recognition. I am so personally grateful to Marshall, to the JCC senior leadership team and staff, to the Council of Advisors and the board for making it really rewarding and also pretty fun to be a lay leader. Being connected to this community makes me part of something bigger than myself. And what I get back in terms of personal fulfillment is so much more than what I give. It is important and meaningful to me to be grounded in my Jewish identity and to live by core values, especially fairness, kindness, and tzedakah. This organization and this community make it possible for me to do so. As incoming president, I recognize the dedicated and supportive leaders of the JCC who have come before me, many of whom are here this evening. I am absolutely humbled and grateful for your passion and commitment to growing and sustaining this organization. You have given much of yourselves and still do. I am committed to following your lead by working hard to foster an environment that delivers on our shared mission of our shared vision of a world where everyone has access to a welcoming, nurturing, and safe community. It's an exciting time for the Stanford JCC. A year ago, we were entirely virtual. 2 years ago, we were entirely uncertain. We have worked through immense challenges and I believe are beginning to emerge on the other side stronger. I doubt that we will ever take for granted the simple joy of being together and the importance of human connection. The past 2 years have powerfully underscored the significance of community and the collective joy it brings to our lives. Last summer, psychologist Adam Grant wrote about finding happiness as the pandemic recedes through the lens of collective effervescence, which he defines as, quote, the sense of energy and harmony people feel when they come together in a group around a shared purpose. He went on to explain that, quote, collective effervescence is the synchrony you feel when you slide into rhythm with strangers on a dance floor, colleagues in a brainstorming session, cousins at a religious service, or teammates on the soccer field. And during this pandemic, it's been largely absent from our lives. Well, I believe the JCC is the antidote to much of what we lost during this pandemic. Whether it's through casual conversations in the hallway, in the fitness center, or the pickleball courts, whether it comes from being together at a film screening or an art opening, working on a J-Cares project, singing and dancing at Shabbat with Sandy, shopping at the Early Childhood Center book fair, or just sharing a cup of coffee in the cafe space. The JCC provides us with unique opportunities to regain the joy and strength that comes with collective effervescence. This idea hit me powerfully at the Purim Carnival in March. The connections, the joy, the Humanitarian, and the sun came out just in time as we came together again as a community. This building was buzzing. Old friends, new friends, generation-spanning connections, and lots of Spider-Man costumes. Who knew Spider-Man liked Humanitarian so very much? We were reminded of the power of our traditions and how this particular Simcha is even sweeter when we can share it together. Human connection is about we, rather than I and us, rather than they. And engagement is critical to fostering that connection. The Stanford JCC belongs to its members. So I am asking you, please come to the JCC. Get involved and stay involved. Email, text, or call me. I welcome your ideas on how we can better serve your needs and those of this community. The people of the JCC are what makes this place so very special. My JCC origin story is a familiar one that began at parent-child swim lessons in Sarah Walker Nursery School. My Sarah Walker crew have become my family, a support system, a sounding board. They were my COVID pod, and we have a lot of fun together. This organization provides the joy of meaningful connection and lifelong friendships, and it's grounded in shared community experiences. Our mission feels more relevant now than ever before, and I'm committed to upholding these words. Founded on and guided by Jewish heritage, culture, and traditions, the Stanford JCC provides a welcoming, inclusive, and nurturing community for all people to help enrich their lives. From birth to old age, we strive to foster and sustain lasting human connections and deep relationships. I am humbled to be following in the footsteps of our most recent board presidents, Michael Gold, Joy Katz, and my Vision 2022 campaign co-chair, Risa Rach. Thank you for your generous counsel, support, ideas, and wisdom. And a very special thank you to Annalise Johnson and Jeannie Kriftcher, because as they know, this whole journey for me began because of them. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank my mom watching on the live stream and my dad currently felling in the audience. I love you, I appreciate you, and yes, I realize how similar I am to you. Thank you for your unconditional, rational listening ears and for inspiring my commitment to Jewish values and organizations. Enormous thanks to my family, especially my husband, Daniel, and our awesome boys, Jacob and Dylan, for their patience, tolerance of my schedule, and most of all, for understanding the importance of giving back to this organization that has given our family so much. Thank you to the nominating committee, JCC membership, for honoring me with your trust to lead our community at this critical juncture. And thanks to all of you here tonight and watching online for coming to the annual meeting and for your continued support. Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs of blessed memory asserted that, quote, in this world, the optimists have it, not because they're always right, but because they are positive. Even when wrong, they are positive. And that is the way of achievement, correction, improvement, and success. Educated, eyes wide open, optimism pace. My promise to you is to be an inclusive, empathetic leader who will remain unshakable in my optimism about this wonderful community and our future together. Thank you. I would now like to have Marshall come back up.
You're not Jeff Popper. So due to COVID, I will be playing the role of Jeff Popper, 2021 Hyacinthe and Harold Hoffman Award winner. He regretfully could not be here tonight. The Hoffman Award was first given in 1985, and we are blessed to have past winners in attendance this evening. Please stand or wave so that we can recognize all of our past JCC champions. The criteria that have been established for this award are based upon the qualities which Harold and Hyacinthe exemplified throughout their lives. The 6 criteria are commitment and dedication to nurturing the overall growth and development of the Jewish Community Center, leadership in the support of the center through the giving of time, energy, and financial assistance, a role model in upholding the mission of the center, helping to sustain the center's cultural, social, and educational programs, a respected representative to the community at large, selfless placement of the center's best interest as a priority on an ongoing basis, an inspiration to others by example. Our 2022 award winner exemplifies all of these characteristics, but it's this last one, an inspiration to others by example, that Risa Goldblum embodies so completely. By example, wherever there is good to be done, she is doing it. Risa is a leader on our board, in our community, and among her peers because of the example she sets for everyone who comes in contact with her. I am inspired by her continuous commitment in making the world a better place. I am so pleased to invite Risa up and present the 2022 Hyacinthe and Harold Hoffman Award.
Thank you, Jeff Popper, and thank you, Marshall, for stepping in and pinch hitting for him. I appreciate it. I'm really humbled by those kind words. I'm at 18 font, but I'm still putting my glasses on. Well, we made it. Everyone knows the Hoffman is the last speech of the night, and I promise I'll have you home in time to watch the next episode of Ozark or whatever you're into these days. I'd like to wish a mazel tov to all of this year's outstanding volunteers of the year and welcome our newly inducted JCC board members. And to my friends who have just left the board, Joy, Scott, and Shawnee, thank you again for your service. It was wonderful working with you these past few years. Michael Gold, you led our board meetings with efficiency and strength during an unprecedented time, always with a smile, and you never lost your cool. I consider you a friend, and I hope I can continue to come to you for encouragement and advice. Blake, I'm really looking forward to working with you as our new board president. I'm sure you recall when we met back in 2016 during the Maccabi Games and Arts Fest,
and you joined our Special Events Committee at the recommendation of Jeannie Kriftcher. You were a fresh-faced young woman who enthusiastically signed on to co-chair our closing party. You had no idea what you were getting into. Almost immediately, you were seen as an up-and-comer in JCC leadership. After the games were over, Debbie Lee and I were asked who we thought would be a good choice for the JCC board. We both unanimously said Blake. Since then, you have risen in the ranks, and now I am thrilled to welcome you as our new leader. I look forward to working with you during your tenure and make even more spectacular things happen here at the JCC. Marshall, I am grateful for your leadership, vision, and determination to make our JCC the best it can be. We have developed a close friendship that includes our families, and I appreciate your steadfast honesty and guidance. And I'm always available to take those delicious girls of yours off your hands anytime you need me. I must admit, being chosen as this year's Harold and Hyacinthe Hoffman Humanitarian Award recipient came as quite a surprise. It's not every day I head out the door in sweatpants to walk my dog Getty, and there are Jeff Popper and Marshall standing in my driveway with flowers and champagne. At first, I thought they were coming for some sort of weird weekend meeting with my Jeff. Maybe the champagne was for mimosas. But then the reason for their visit quickly became apparent. I was shocked. First of all, my husband kept a huge secret. But seriously, walking in the footsteps of the outstanding Hoffman winners who have come before me seemed daunting. Had I devoted enough time and accomplished enough? As many of you know, the Stanford JCC is a special place for me. I grew up coming here and spent most of my childhood involved with the JCC and everything it had to offer. My mom would drop me off on Sunday mornings, and my friends and I would spend the entire day at the J. We played racquetball, splashed in the pool, spent endless hours with Pac-Man and asteroids in the teen lounge, and ate lunch at Rudy's Nasharai. I took art classes and attended youth group meetings, went to dances in the gym, and learned about the importance of volunteering through the Teen Leadership Program. The JCC allowed me to stay connected to my Jewish friends in Stanford. It was a safe, happy place for me, and I loved coming here. When Jeff and I came back to the area after college, we immediately reconnected to the JCC. We used the gym after work and on Sunday mornings, where we would meet in the former XLR lounge for bagels and coffee. When we got married and started a family and moved to Pound Ridge, we naturally chose the Sarah Walker Nursery School for Jordan, Elise, and Aaron. We attended numerous star nights and Tot Shabbats and watched our kids learn to swim with Mikhael. Our boys spent afternoons playing basketball and floor hockey, and Elise took ballet lessons. I joined Center Women and began friendships with many fabulous women and their families who are still my closest friends. Over the years, I have taken on a variety of roles and positions as both a volunteer and lay leader, from the Parents Association to Center Women, galas, Maccabi Games, and Sahal Shalom. Throughout it all, my service stems from a desire and obligation to give back to this place that has meant so much to my family and me. Most recently, I have been proud to serve on the JCC Board of Directors for the past 3 years, and happy to say I was just renominated for 3 more. My service to the J has taken on a different meaning. I am now helping shape behind-the-scenes decisions about how and why we operate, all while staying true to our mission of enriching the minds, bodies, and spirits of our members and the entire community. I thoroughly enjoy the deep discussions that ensue about the progress and growth of our JCC, helping to take the Board of Directors' dreams and turning them into reality. My work on the board took on a new meaning during the pandemic, when our meetings were held on Zoom late into the night and we were making real-time choices about the fate of our JCC. After an extended lockdown, would we be able to keep the lights on and the doors open, allow the JCC to remain available for families who needed us? How would we hold on to our staff and enable them to work in a safe environment? But during our darkest days, those important conversations turned into unanimous decisions, allowing us to persevere, stay the course, and more importantly, set an example for the rest of the community. We all miss the camaraderie of being around the boardroom table, but just look at what we accomplished during that period of time. I am proud to share my work in the Jewish community with another agency, the Elaine and James Shoki Jewish Family Service, where I have been involved with a kosher food pantry and other holiday programs for several years. It has been especially rewarding to combine the work I do for JFS and the JCC. Many of my projects at JFS overlap with and benefit from JCC J-Cares, such as food drives and other types of collections. I know this symbiotic relationship will continue to grow and spread to other organizations in our community. As many of you know, I lost my dad recently, and I have been thinking a lot about what our loved ones give to us. I don't mean physical things, but what we receive through demonstration or just by example. To me, that is the simple definition of legacy, something that we obtain from an important person in our lives. Both of my parents have given me many gifts. Through his actions and words, my dad, more commonly known as Zadie, taught me about compassion and kindness, accepting people for who they are, and just being happy to help wherever needed. My mom, Lorraine, or Mimi, who is watching tonight's event remotely down in Boynton Beach, taught me about the joy of volunteering by going out and doing it. Growing up, I watched how she served on many boards, including Hadassah and Agudas Shalom, and was always attending meetings, planning fundraisers, and collecting donations for various organizations. I am so fortunate to have been given tools from my parents that have guided me throughout my life, and I am forever grateful for what they taught me. Jeff and I now pass these legacy lessons from our parents to our children, as they have shown us with their own unique volunteer endeavors. Nothing makes me happier than hearing how my kids spend their time delivering Shabbat meals to homebound seniors, planning a fundraiser for military heroes, organizing events around safe driving, mentoring students, helping underprivileged communities, and supporting a variety of Jewish organizations in different ways. And speaking of my kids, including Aaron, who is watching this from his apartment down in Tulane, and my dearest Jeff, I want to thank you all for being my best cheerleaders and understanding how much my work here at the JCC means to me. You have always been by my side as helpers, schleppers, and spreadsheet tutors, and I couldn't have done any of it without your support. I love you all beyond words. To my brother and sister, in-laws, and extended family, and dear friends, I always appreciate your unconditional love and support anytime I need it. I wish all of you could be here, but I know you are all with me tonight through the wonders of technology. This building and the people inside it have been nurturing my family and me for as long as I can remember. I will continue to do whatever I can to make sure it stands here for future generations to enjoy. I will pay tribute to the legacy of my parents and to the Hoffman Award recipients who came before me. Many of you are here with us tonight, and you have continued to put in the work and remain dedicated to the future of our JCC. You all inspire me. Thank you again to the Hoffman Committee. This honor means so much to me.
All right, Risa, another round. So as promised, Hoffman's speech is always the last of the night. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you everybody for tuning in on the live stream. For those of you tuning in, we will send out information for you to come in for tours if you would like. We invite everyone here to please take a tour of all the new spaces, the ongoing construction, and mingle, enjoy dessert, and most importantly, have a wonderful evening.